We're live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube, so we'll give it just a minute or two.
Okay, does it take a minute to come on?
Nope, it's on now. Just gonna give it a minute for some people to start joining.
Shoot, I don't see it. Oh, here we are. Okay, I'm shared.
All right.
I know, where's our regulars?
Got a couple people on. There's Dave.
Okay, good.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Parker.
Parker Brown.
All right, well, I'll get started with some announcements. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another live broadcast. I'm Jamie Chavez, your host with the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and we're thrilled to have you with us today. We are here to bring you county updates from JeffCo County Commissioner Tracy Kraft Tharp. And if this is your first time joining us for this broadcast, a special welcome to you. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like us on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe, and you can also check out our previous broadcasts there. As you watch this morning, feel free to engage with us, ask your questions, comments, simply say hello, and we will get to those during the interview. And now finally, a warm welcome to Commissioner Kraft Tharp. Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me. So tell me how you're doing. How has your last month been?
It's been good. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's good. Lots of good things happening.
Oh, good. You want to name a couple?
Yeah, we've got lots of exciting new members that have come on board so far this year. So that's really cool. And some fun events coming up, some cool partnerships. Yeah, just a lot of fun stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, good. You want me to jump into my list?
Yeah, what have you got for us today?
So a lot of what I have is pretty similar to what I've talked about in the past. So let me run through it again, see if people have questions or if they want me to expand on it a little bit. The big news at the county, as you know, is we are working on this project called Together JeffCo. And it really is a land use project looking at pulling together 4 of the land use plans and really being able to update. So update our fire plan and our water plan and the master plan. And it's a 2-year process because it's pretty intensive. We really are working pretty intensively with the community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think I'm mentioning it just about every time we meet. But this time, what I have to tell you is that we have 3 community meetings coming up. So for everybody that's watching, I have some dates and places. So get your pen and papers out so I could tell you about some community meetings that we're having. So the first one is on March 4th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And that's at the Golden Gate Grange in Golden. And all this is on our webpage, too, if you miss it. So that's March 4th, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Golden Gate Grange. The second one is at March 5th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Evergreen High School. And then the third one is March 7th from 4 to 6 at the Lookout Mountain Room in the admin building, the Taj Mahal. So I went to one of these when they had it in Arvada last month, and they really have it kind of open panel style, where they have panels all around the room and you go from place to place and there's staff at each one taking your input. It was really good. We had a really good crowd at the Arvada one. The information was fascinating, and to be able to have the staff there to actually be able to listen to your input and your feedback and write it down, I think was really helpful. So I really encourage people to participate.
Yeah. What was that third? Excuse me. What was that third one? I didn't get that one.
March 7th from 4 to 6 o'clock. And that's in the Lookout Mountain Room in the Taj Mahal in the admin building. And that's in the basement.
Okay.
The conference room in the basement. I don't know if you've been there yet.
I have not. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So really encouraging people to be able to participate. We are about a year into the process. In March, we're going to start making the Board of County Commissioners will start making some decisions on different modules. So like module 1, 2, and 3, which then will build on the later modules. So, we are probably 6 months to a year of winding down. So especially people that are really invested in the planning and zoning aspect of the county, we really encourage you to participate.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. So let's talk airport. You and I were just talking a few minutes ago. Apparently there's military jets flying around today. I'm sure I'll get emails about those, and we're not sure what they're doing, if they're practicing, if something's happening. But we've got military jets that are housed at the airport. So it's a beautiful day. I don't see a cloud in the sky as I'm looking out my window.
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little windy, but it might be a good day to be able to get out there and practice in the middle of the day. So we don't know Jamie and I don't know what's going on. We just know that there's some military jets flying around. Right. But let me give you some updates around the airport. So on Monday, March 4th, Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment is coming to the Westminster City Council, and they're coming there to talk about lead. So actually 6 months ago, the EPA started looking at the lead issue from planes in airports. In last November, they issued a guidance saying there's lead coming out of airplanes and we need to reduce it. We need to move from leaded fuel to unleaded fuel. So CDPHE is coming to Westminster City Council to talk about what kind of lead exposure is there in the area. So people may be interested in that study session. The town of Superior recently did some lead tests in which they tested areas in Superior, Louisville, and Lafayette. And those reports are on the town of Superior's webpage. I would encourage people to take a look. It really did find minimal levels of lead. I think part of what CDPHE will talk about is, does there need to be further testing, or if people are concerned, what can they do? And how should they handle that? So that should be interesting. I know I'm going to be there. Our county manager will be there. Some of our JeffCo public health people will be there on Monday, March 4th at Westminster City Council. And that's usually, I think that's like at 6:30. You're usually there, Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's about 6:30 they do their study session.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I encourage people to, if you can't attend, you can always watch online. So
right. So that should be interesting. The other interesting thing that's happening is Jason Serbo, who is a trustee with the town of Superior, has really taken the lead and is working in partnership with the airport around what are some immediate things that can happen to make an impact on the noise level at the airport. So Jason and our previous airport manager worked with the schools, and they were able to put together a nighttime procedure in which they ask planes that are flying in from 10 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning, please fly. I think it's in the south runway, not in the north runway. That brings planes in at a different level, which decreases the noise. That's a voluntary procedure because, as people may or may not know, the airport does not have the authority to tell planes where, when, how they can fly. That's FAA authority. But we can ask, and so we are asking for compliance. Jason recently said that he's tracking this information. we're getting about a 48% compliance rate, which we had anticipated 50% at the end of the year. So 48% of the planes that have flown in, I think since October, between 10 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock in the morning, are flying in on the south runway. We are hearing from some people that there is less noise at night, probably I assume as a result of this. And that really is the goal. Let's let people get a good night's sleep. Let's decrease some of the noise of the planes that are coming in.
Yeah.
So that nighttime, we consider that nighttime operations to be a success. Kudos to Jason Serbo with Superior for taking the lead and really working on that. He recently has been working with the schools around, is there a different pathway planes can take voluntarily, during the day that would reduce the noise level, especially in the town of Superior. So those daytime plane routes he introduced at the last community noise roundtable meeting at the airport. It's going to come back at the next meeting, which is the first Thursday of the month at 6 o'clock up at the airport. And the members of the Community Noise Roundtable will vote whether we move forward with that. Basically, what he's looking at is planes. Okay, this is an interesting way to try to describe. Right now, planes come off the runway and they take a turn. They go north and they go over the town of Superior. What he is looking at is planes would go a little bit further up over the open space area, and then they would take the turn and then go north. That would be, again, voluntary because only the FAA has the authority to tell planes where they can go. I think people who especially live in that area or are concerned about noise might want to tune into that community noise roundtable that Thursday, or contact Jason Serbo. So again, kudos to him, pat on the back to him, to be able to find little things that are happening that will make some difference in terms of the noise level at the airport.
Yeah, great.
So I don't know if people, welcome to Brian Head. I don't know if people have questions about that. Let me get rid of my phone.
Yeah, Brian jumped on, Emilio jumped on. Good morning to both of you.
Okay. So welcome. So that really is the airport updates that I have. So let me talk about the budget. So some of what, if people are fans or regulars on Nextdoor or Facebook, they may have seen that the county recently hired a consultant, the Bighorn Group. I think I talked a little bit about this last month, but it's really has been getting quite a bit of scurry. So I'll mention it again. So we hired the Bighorn Group as a consultant to look at what's the fiscal situation of the county and what are options that we could take, and options to be able to present to the Board of County Commissioners to make a decision around what we can do about the fiscal situation in the county. So the consultant's job really is to work internally with staff and departments around the fiscal situation, to do some polling in the community, and then do some focus groups in the community. And then gather all that together, bring that to the county commissioners, I think by the end of July. That's not that part of that is the scurry part. There are people that are feeling like we hired somebody to be a campaign manager. Last year, when we were looking at putting something on the ballot, our staff did that work. And our staff really are at capacity. And it's difficult for them to be able to run focus groups around the community, to be able to do that kind of research, and to be able to make those kind of recommendations. So this year we hired a consultant to do it. Um, it really is not a campaign. It really is more of an exploration of the different options. But there are some people that feel like we have our minds made up that we want to go on the ballot for debrucing. So therefore, we've started the campaign already. And that really is not true. We have not made up our minds. Debrucing is one option. There are other options. Do we do a sales tax? Do we do an increase in property tax? So there's a number of different options that we could, or do we do nothing? So there's a number of different options that we could look at that the consultant is looking at. So that has been kind of the scurry. I know I saw Channel 4 with Sean Boyd and Natalie Metten, and they were talking about it, and I was watching going, wait a minute. No, we have not made up our mind, and it is not a political campaign yet. So the other piece of scurry about it is the consultant that we hired is the Bighorn Group, and the Bighorn Group is run by Ian Silveri. And Ian Silveri is somebody who's been involved in Democrat politics for a long time. In the scurry, he's been called a political operative. I guess I've known Ian for a long time, and I've never thought of him as, I mean, I think about political operatives as being those people that wear, black and the black hats. And,
Yeah.
and that certainly is not Ian.
That's not what's happening.
And that's not what's happening. He is a political expert, which is important in this task, that we have somebody that understands the political landscape and the political environment. The other thing about Ian, I got to tell you, is Ian's wife is the current congresswoman from the 7th Congressional District.
Okay.
Now, that was not part of why he was hired as a consultant, and I don't think he put that down as part of his qualifications. And I will just say, my husband, there are certain projects he can and cannot do because of my position as a county commissioner. So it can be hard to be the spouse of an elected. So I kind of feel for Ian in that way. But there are people that feel that maybe we hired Ian because he is married to Brittany Pedersen. In fact, Ian's company went through the procurement process that is set up for anybody that applies for a contract with the county. The elected officials, the county commissioners, were not involved in that process. The staff were involved in that process. It's the process that's used for everybody. The other bit of scurry is that Ian made campaign contributions to the county commissioners, to the DA, to the county clerk. And yes, he did. I know he gave me $100 in 2014, and he gave me $100 in 2020. Yes, but $100 is not going to influence me to give him a contract. Did not, would not, will not. So I think I would encourage people to be part of the meetings to really be able to understand the scope of the expertise that the Bighorn Group brings to this task. And if you have an opinion, let's talk about it. Do you think that the county should bring something to the ballot? If you think that they should, what should that be? Should it be debrucing? Should that be an increase in sales tax? Should it be an increase in property tax? That I hate to have that come out of my mouth. The other thing that the county has been doing this last month is, since I saw you, is we've spent 3 full days where the departments came to us and presented budget cuts. So plan A would be whatever we might decide in July. If we decide on nothing, or if we bring something to the ballot and it fails, then we would need to go to plan B. Plan B is budget cuts. So we asked each one of our departments to present to us a budget with a 12% cut. And so we spent 3 days going through those. It's a tough exercise. There is no department that is sitting with money flush in some account that they could just say, oh, okay, I won't use that money.
Yeah.
Cutting 12% is painful. It cuts into really relevant services. What we've encouraged our departments to do is to look at what are the core services that you provide as defined by state statute, the core services. And then what surrounds that is what you might want to look at cutting. So that's what we've asked our departments to do. So that's kind of the process that we're at. We don't know which direction we're going into. We are looking at a $32 million deficit in 2025. So I know some of the people that are on here are going, how did that happen? How that happened was that during COVID, our Tabor cap got ratcheted down $14 million because of the decrease in revenue that was brought in by the state. So our Tabor cap went down. And then the last couple of years, the county has been funding services through the federal dollars, the CARE dollars, and then now the ARPA dollars. The ARPA dollars will be done in 2025. So what that means is we won't have those dollars to pay for different expenditures. So that brings us to a $32 million deficit that we need to make up. That's a lot of information. Yeah. And I don't know if anybody has questions or if you have questions about that.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll get those answered.
So yeah, I'm hearing a question that I'm sure someone is starting to write. So let me answer that question. We have increased property taxes. I know property taxes went up 37%. How could property taxes go up 37%, but yet you're telling me that we have a $32 million deficit? That's a really, really good question. Last year, the increase in property taxes, which is a result of the increase in the valuation of your house. I know my house is worth a whole lot more. Because your house is worth more, your property taxes are more. That's not something the county did. It's because of the marketplace and the valuation of our homes. So because of the increase in valuation of our houses, we received increase in property taxes of about $42 million. That put us over our Tabor cap. And so we returned $39.4 million of that in your tax refund, your Tabor refunds last October. Good question.
All right. We've got another one here from Parker. When is the last time we increased sales tax?
The county itself does not have a sales tax. The open space program has a sales tax. And I don't know when that was. It seems to me that was in the 70s or 80s that they implemented that. I don't think they increased. But the county itself relies solely on property tax, not on sales tax. But good question.
And Dave says, can you describe the difference between the core services of the county by statute versus the elective or no statutory responsibilities?
So there are certain things that state statute tells us that we must do. So we must, for example, we must do child welfare services. State statute tells us that. The state provides us with some money towards that. We pay for some of that through property taxes. An example of programming that was not statutorily defined, it would be like homeless services. Severe weather programs, programs to provide services for those folks that are homeless. That is not defined by statute. Important, absolutely important, absolutely valued, but not defined by state statute.
Yeah. There's been some times this year where we've, had to set out some resources for people. So.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a good question, Dave. Thank you.
Good question, Dave. Any other questions?
Nobody's got any questions for you. Well, maybe we can just shift gears a little bit. Do you have any fun plans coming up for the weekend or for the month of, the rest of February?
No. I'm trying to think. My brother and sister-in-law are coming in town this weekend, so that will be fun.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
All right.
How about you? Anything fun?
No.
I
Same.
know. And we have an extra day in February too that we
Yeah.
need to figure out what to do.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. Yeah, no, I'm nothing super fun planned coming up. So, yeah.
So before we end, let's say happy anniversary to Porch Light. Today is their 3-year anniversary. They're having a 3-year anniversary celebration tonight. Porch Light is the criminal justice program, innovative, creative, one-stop shopping in Jefferson County. So happy anniversary to you. Congratulations on 3 years.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining us, and we'll see you at the end of March for another round.
Absolutely. I always appreciate this and really encourage people to call me, email, connect with questions or other information. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.